Okay, this time we're going to go to Hema's class, and Hema is getting the students to provide her with examples of a vowel sound in Punjabi. It's an E sound, a long sound, and you'll see it come up here. So they're asked to find sounds that make this li sound or E sound in Punjabi, a long E. So she's asked them for examples, and this is what she gets.
Next one. Which one? Leader. Leader, as in leader. Leading. Leading. Leading is called. I've often heard this word for ages. Where did you learn this word from? From your baby. Oh, how? Okay. Have you heard it? Anybody put your hand up if you have heard this word before? Tommy, where did you hear this word from? Your baby. Your baby as well. Yeah. Leader is a really traditional word for clothes. Okay. Really old and traditional word. Leading. Now we say kapde. Leading. Okay. Oh, good word. Well done. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so what I think is happening in this extract is that the teacher is valuing the histories of different words, because these words do have different histories. They throw up issues of migration. Lire is really, according to Hema, the word that's not used anymore. It's a kind of non-standard variety, and what they should be saying is kapre. But she endorses those stories from their Bibi, and this kind of the use of Bibi as a kind of as an iconic label. It's something that we found in complementary schools. A lot of kinship terms are very important, that serves as icons and indexes of particular migration histories. So words have a history which reflects human relations. Some words are more legitimate than others, but she, as a teacher, takes that word and then takes them on to another word. Okay, thank you, Constance. And there are social distinctions in the use of these words. So, whereas the other, what I want to make from the first, the mustachio, I want to talk about creativity. Here, I want to talk about the valuing of histories, the importance of words to index those histories, and the importance of particular words as iconic, as representing those histories and experiences. Okay, I'm way over, I've got too much. I'm going to do one more data extract and then just make some summary points. So this is again from Hema's class, and the students have asked her a question about translation. They want to know whether it's okay to use this word or that word. It's an English word. Can they use an English word when they're talking in Punjabi? So they've asked her that question, and she tells them this story.
I would share one thing with you. Last week, I was doing a translation for somebody. It was a Gurdwara, and there was a leaflet, a couple of lines I had to translate for some Babaji, like Buzurg. Yeah, elderly person. And the word was community, yeah? And I was doing the translation, and I said, samudai, yeah, community means samudai. Couldn't understand. And then I tried to make this word more easier. No. And I was thinking, what shall I tell him? No. Then I said, shall I say the word community? I said, community. It was fine. He didn't understand, because some words, like, they are so familiar, right? Because they're the people living with those words, right? They were just, he easily understood what I'm talking about. The community, community can see. I said, okay, I was just doing word-to-word translation. Okay, some words, they are more easy to understand if you say them in English. Okay.
So this teacher understands that multilinguals do not keep their languages separate. Right? She's encouraging and endorsing a flexible approach to their language use. And complementary schools are actually one place that they're able to do that with their bilingualism. So they're able to well, rather than kind of feel that their bilingualisms are kept separate, or their languages are kept separate, that their flexible practices are endorsed. We see that both translation and translanguaging coexist in this extract. So she does, translate one term into another, from one language into another, but she also translanguaging. She needs both in order to communicate with these young people. And not only is she communicating with them, she's offering them actually a kind of normative space where that bilingualism is not just okay, but actually endorsed. So I'm going to skip now to some final slides, I think. So I'll come back to Claire Crouch, and I'll just make a couple of points perhaps. So Claire Crouch says ultimately multilingualism challenges the very goals of foreign language education in America, in American academia, avowedly designed to teach usable skills in the supposedly monolingual environment of the target country. These usable skills are these functions that I showed earlier in the Speaking Naturally book. In the supposedly, so we still operate when we teach languages as if that kind of bilingualism, multilingualism out there is not relevant in the classroom. And to enable American foreign language learners to perform supposedly universal communicative speech acts that will be understood and accepted by all because of their accurate grammar and pragmatics. And then I just want to end with a couple of quotes to show that we're making these arguments in a wider community of scholars making very similar arguments in Europe and in the United States and elsewhere. In fact, in many places like Africa and Southeast Asia, we've known for a very long time that these the ideas of these kind of separation of languages just don't hold up. So Ophelia Garcia says translanguagings are multiple discursive practices in which bilinguals engage in order to make sense of their bilingual worlds. Translanguaging therefore goes beyond what has been termed code switching, although it includes it because at times that kind of focus on language is still useful, as well as other kinds of bilingual learners, language use and bilingual context. I'll skip some of those. There's another whole list of scholars doing work, Jean Conte, Nancy Hornberger, James Simpson, kind of Garage, and many people doing this work and making this argument. I think I'll probably end with a quote from Creese and as is my voice, to say that although, always in these kind of presentations, that we have to, I guess, be careful and step back and ask other questions. So we say, although we can acknowledge that across all linguistically diverse contexts, moving between languages is natural, how to harness and build on this will depend on the socio-political and historical environment in which practice is embedded and the local ecologies of schools and classrooms. Actually, maybe I'll end with Kanagaraja, because he says the question is whether the type of spontaneous negotiations of languages that we see in face-to-face conversations can be taught in the somewhat constrained context of the classroom. And I think that's what these kind of seminars are for. I think it very much depends on how we understand context, whether the context is very local in our classrooms or whether we're thinking about the kind of wider socio-political context of what we mean by standard, what we mean by varieties within our languages. And so all of those questions come into play. So I hope I'm not too over time constant.
Well, thank you.